Hello. Thank you for joining the Games on AWS 2022. I would like to have a quick session for Japanese customer case study. My name is Takahiro Ishii. I'm a developer relations for games from AWS Japan. And I'm extremely thrilled to share those customer stories from Japanese customers with the trends we see these days. Let's get started. So just to kick off this session, I would like to just jump into the first trend, cloud game development. So Chris mentioned before, but let me just quickly explain the cloud game development here. The cloud game development is where our customers develop their games on the cloud from the planning to all the way to the post-production. Some customers build, test on the cloud, or others may use the workstations to do the coding or 3D modeling. And since the development distributions, mainly due to the pandemic, we have a lot of customers are moving to hybrid, remote, and in-person staffing. And not just that, but games are getting bigger and complex and more expensive. And it's not just developing games are challenging, but operating, launching, testing, and those all things are expensive and more complex. And it's the same case for our Japanese customers. But some of them are moving forward with AWS, and I have a couple examples. I brought one example here. So one great example is a Game Freak. The company is best known for their Pokemon series. A lot of you probably noticed the picture on the right side, the Pikachu, yeah. And we have a great quote from the customer, the Takahiro-san, saying that we are a game studio that creates the Pokemon series with the aim of developing games that enrich people. And AWS has become indispensable for a small group of elite engineers to develop titles that appeal to players around the world. Thank you so much, Takahiro-san, for the terrific message. And let us see what he really means there. So Game Freak was facing the challenges where they had to obtain and secure the compute resources for their on-prem environment. And it wasn't just the compute resources, according to them. They were looking for locations, places for their server racks and cabinets, and more importantly, the power to support those machines. And more specifically, that they were looking for the environment for CI/CD, so where they can build and compile those massive games. So they decided to use AWS for cloud game development. Now they're able to secure enough compute capacity quickly. In fact, as quick as an hour compared to 2 months of waiting time with the on-prem. And as you can see, they're hosting almost all their cloud game development on EKS. And not just that, but they're optimizing their cost by using the Linux machines for some build tasks. Before, they had to have 30 instances, 30 machines for their on-prem to develop one single title. And then now they told us the newer titles, they need 50 machines. But with AWS, now they're running about 70% of those machines on cloud and boosting those game development. As a result, now they can focus on development over resource management. And moving on to the next trend, multiplayer games. Multiplayer games are definitely the standard these days. Players do expect multiplayer features in new games, and players expect lower latencies. But from the developer's perspective, we have to have the servers across the world for lower latencies, and we have to scale those servers based on player traffic, player demand. And somehow we have to optimize the management of those servers across the world. And as the whole world is chasing this multiplayer trend, Japanese customers are also jumping into this complex problem, but maybe a little bit smoother with AWS. So one of the great examples for hosting and operating multiplayer games from Japanese customers is Gunho, with their famous title Ninjalar. Here's a quote from CTO of Gunho, Kikuchi-san, saying, "The server side and the matchmaking part can now be left to AWS. Therefore, it is possible that we focus on how to deliver a better game player experience to our players." Thank you so much for the words, Kikuchi-san, and again, let us see what he means there. Just like the rest of the world, for the multiplayer games, Gunho was struggling. They wanted to scale their servers based on player traffic, and for lower latencies, they wanted to have those servers across the world. And on top of that, because they didn't have great matchmaking, they were looking for flexible matchmaking solution. Scaling and lower latency, matchmaking, sounds like a game lift. So they chose to use Amazon Game Lift. Game Lift deploys, creates, and scales dedicated low-cost servers for session-based multiplayer games. Game Lift scales based on player traffic, and you can deploy Game Lift servers to up to 31 locations. And in fact, Gunho deployed their servers to 14 regions. And of course, they used the Game Lift Flex Match, and they reduced the cost of development. And as a result, on the launch day, they achieved 1 million downloads in the first 16 hours. All right, we have another multi-game titles, Gundam Evolution from Bandai Namco Online. Gundam Evolution is an FPS based on the famous Gundam series. It was just released on September 22nd this year. How many Gundam fans here? Yeah, I see some hands. Yeah, I'm Gundam fan as well. It's a fun game. So the Gundam Evolution also used Amazon Game Lift, but it's not just a Game Lift. They use Game Lift Fleet IQ. So the goal was to create container-based dedicated game servers. For this large title, they wanted to scale without managing any of those lower machine compute resources. So they decided to use Fleet IQ with Amazon EKS, where Fleet IQ is handling all those machines, and our containers are server containers, dedicated game server containers are running and managed by the Amazon EKS. Fleet IQ provides a variety of instance types. And in fact, Bandai Namco, they chose to use 20 different instance types. So those game servers are running 20 different game instance types. As a result, they achieved over 1 million installs on the first week. They achieved 100,000 CCU, and they became the top viewed game title on Twitch. And the last trend, it's a machine learning. So when we talk about machine learning in games, we're talking about developers using an ML to enhance in-game experience. And also developers to use ML for the live ops in games where developers predict and operate for higher retention. And more, maybe they use ML to generate characters or generate weapons to increase the cadence of the development. And moreover, if you have, let's say, associated consumer website for selling your character's t-shirt or character's figures, you can combine that with your game and connecting with ML to increase the inside and outside player experience. And last but not least, you see the esports right there. Esports is something you can definitely boost with ML. And I have a great story with that. It's Fab Gaming. Fab Gaming is a professional gameplay professional game team produced by Kadokawa. They have 8 divisions, or more like they have 8 focused titles to play. And happens to be one of them is Valorant. And the story that I'm about to tell is the ML use case from the Valorant division team. So the story begins with the daily training. For the training purposes, they record all the matches from every single player's perspective. A lot of videos. And from the video, they get analytics data. And from the data, they see players' playstyle, weaknesses, strengths, and strategies, so on. But the problem is, somebody had to watch the entire video and pause it and put that data into the analytics data. So it was very, very beneficial, but very, very time-consuming. So they came to talk to AWS. So with the AWS, with the Amazon ML Solutions Lab program, they built a serverless ML solution with only 4 months. That solution right there. So with that solution, now what they have to do is they put those videos, recorded videos, onto the S3 bucket. And from there, the Amazon SageMaker gets triggered and detects all the scenes, all the screens. And for example, if the video contains the results screen with the numbers saying who won and who lost and how many kills and how many shots, those numbers get detected by Amazon Textract. And Textract put those numbers into the analytics data. And moreover, the plain video, the actual shooting video, gets detected by SageMaker and Amazon Recognition. And from there, the data for the player's movement and the strategy gets into the analytics data. So as a result, then now the analytics time got reduced to 1/3 of how it used to take. And you know what they did with the extra time? Of course, they play more games, and they improve their skills and improve their strategies. And those are the core trends that we have in Japan. But I have one more customer case study to showcase here. The Game of the Year winner of the Japan Game Awards, and one of the largest hits from 2022, and that's Elden Ring. How many people played Elden Ring? How many Elden Lords we have became the Elden King? All right, that's good. So the From Software has been using AWS as an infrastructure for their games since 2012. And for Elden Ring, they chose to use managed services to support 1.5 million CCU. And this is very important. They only have 4 backend engineers to operate Elden Ring. That's pretty amazing. And I have a quote from Software here. The reason we have been able to operate online services for the game, which has been played by a multitude of users around the world, has shipped more than 13.4 million units worldwide without any disruptions, with a small but highly skilled team in place, is thanks to AWS and thanks to the efforts by the members of our development team. Now let's see what he means and how they scale their servers. All right. So challenges were, of course, they needed to scale over 1 million CCU. And they originally estimated only 200,000 CCU. And after the launch trailer, the estimation got bumped up to 1 million CCU. That's a problem. So to meet the demand, they chose to use managed services like Amazon EKS for containers. They use containers to avoid any incompatibility issue during the development. They also wanted to avoid any operational cost from the Kubernetes, so they decided to use Amazon EKS. And with all that effort, they achieved the 1.5 million CCU, which is over the estimation of 1 million CCU. It's an amazing story. And I'd like to talk more about those games, more about Elden Ring, more about other customers. But unfortunately, I don't have enough time to cover those customer stories. So please feel free to find me during this event and talk to me so I can talk a lot of stories back. And with that, I say thank you so much, and please enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.